You know my favorite player?
Yeah.
In the whole world is Kobe, right?
Yeah, I knew that was coming too.
Welcome to this video. It's obviously with a very sad heart that I'm making this one, and for that reason there's not going to be any advertisements or anything specifically about this video. I don't care if I use copyrighted music, I don't care if I use copyrighted footage. I just want to put this out to continue to help to teach and learn and inspire the next generation, as I know Kobe often did and continued to want others to do as well. And so with this video I want to step away a little bit from some of the sad things that we've been hearing in the news recently and shed a little bit more light on some of the bright spots and things that we can continue to learn from Kobe, and specifically his game, because we all know about Mamba mentality and we all know what that means and how we each live it in our own lives day in and day out and how much that continues to impact us. But if I can show you just a few things that Kobe's done in his career to become one of the greatest of all time, then maybe you can pick up some of those things and add them to your game and potentially become an amazing scorer as well. And so, as you know, I often talk about becoming a scorer and not just a shooter. And I want all my players to have the ability to shoot a step back, a turnaround fade, a pump fake shot, a pull-up, a mid-range, a three-pointer, be able to have every single option possible to score. And because as I grew up, I watched Kobe. And so when he shot the ball, I emulated every single thing he did, from the way that he shot, from every footwork movement that he did, from every pump fake that he did. I just remember coming out and pretending to shoot game winners over people and hesitation pull-ups and pump fake pull-ups the same way Kobe did. So that's how I grew up and knew how to play basketball. And so ever since then, I want to take some of that and teach it on to the next generation to show them what Kobe did to be so successful and how they can learn from it to also be successful. So here we're going to take a look at just a few of the things that he did really, really well that you can potentially add to your game as well. So you can see the mural in the back of the gym with a lot of amazing players, and of course you see Kobe at the bottom there because he was the first one done, because he was the GOAT to me. And so one thing that we can take away from his game when we watch, aside from any of the mental things, is just some of the details that he had with his footwork. And the main thing was this: Kobe would use a lot of jab steps and a lot of pump fakes because the defense knew at any moment that he was willing to shoot the ball. And so if they backed up just half an inch, he was going to rise and shoot it. And if they backed up just a little bit, then they were nervous and scared to jump on his pump fakes. But all of this was just a tool to be utilized for him to do the main thing, and that's this. Kobe wanted to get to his spots. And his spots being the short corners, the elbows, and once he attacked those, of course, if he can go all the way to the basket, he would. But oftentimes, if he could just get right to that elbow and lift up, that's going to be his bread and butter. Right to the free throw line and lift up, right to the short corner and rise up. Get to the block and post up. Get to the spots where he's super successful and can make sure that that defender has no chance to guard him. The first shot we'll look at is going to be his 2-dribble pull-up. And this applies to any pull-up that he does. But it's always going to be dribble, inside foot, outside foot. And then if you really pay attention to where he picks with the ball, he's always going to pick the ball up away from the defense. So here he picks it up on his right hip, rises that ball through his right ear, and elevates over the defense. Now, one thing about Kobe was that he had an incredible lift on his mid-range shots, and he also had incredible set point, getting that ball even above his forehead to make sure that it was unblockable.
I like to raise my elbow up a little bit more. I can read if a defender's coming. Now I got to kind of slide back a little bit more and shoot the ball straight up. That shot goes in because you're out there on the court just kind of working on those things. So you got to be able to work on those things, be comfortable in those situations so that you're natural when it happens.
And it's these super small details that make him great. But even here you can see that as he goes into this 1-2 pull-up, pay attention to where he picks up the ball and then how he rises and squares up in the air. Not a wasted movement, not a wasted second. And we can find 4,000 examples of Kobe doing a 1 or 2 dribble pull-up, making sure that he gets that dribble, 1-2, and then he rises straight into that jumper. And he always knows if he can go straight up into it or if he needs to add just a little bit of an extra fade to get it off. And like I mentioned, it's going to be dribble, inside foot, and then outside foot. As you pick it up, you rise and you shoot. But making sure that you get the inside foot and then the outside foot to time really well as bounce 1-2, you're going to give yourself the most shot options and ability to transfer your weight into a fadeaway or into a pump fake or a step through.
Footwork really sets up your shot. It enables you to keep defenders off balance. I'd say their length is so great that they can still alter your shot. Now you throw in the pump fake, it really keeps the defender off balance, keeps them guessing, which is exactly what you want to do.
And this segues extremely well into what I want to talk about next, which is going to be that dribble 1-2. We pump fake and then we step through. So if I'm going to my left here, I'm going to go right foot, left foot, because of course I want to go inside foot and then outside foot. Once I pump fake and get that defense in the air, I can then go ahead and step back to the basket. If I'm dribbling with my right hand, it's going to be left foot, right foot. Just of course whatever hand is going to be, or whichever foot is closer to the basket. Once I take those 2 steps and pump fake, I can then go ahead and spin back on a reverse pivot or step through on a front pivot to get into my next shot option. This is elite footwork, and I only show it to the best of the best athletes that I work with. Dribble, 1-2, pump fake, and then either step through or reverse pivot to the basket. This is absolutely one of my personal favorite shots to shoot, and I love it so much because I watched Kobe do it thousands of times until I perfected it myself. And then now every single time I use it, I feel exactly like I'm watching him again in his shoes. And next, of course, is going to be his post fadeaways. So the first thing that you want to recognize and to start with here is to get your shoulder facing the rim. This will put your shoulder immediately into the chest of your defense. So if you can slam the ball and hit the defense shoulder to chest, that's how you begin. After bumping shoulder to chest, you're then going to go into a little bit of a drop where both your feet come into the air and you turn facing back to basket. In this position, now you can easily turn over the left shoulder or over the right shoulder.
And falling away, puts it up, puts it in. Ryan twists and turns.
Shoot, particularly over longer defenders or double teams.
Fall away in the corner. Do you believe this?
Prior to.
Kobe backs down barrel, a step back fade.
So you can notice here when turning baseline, I get the pound, bump into the chest, I drop my feet, and when I turn baseline to shoot, my toes are actually going to face the baseline before I continue to rise and square up in the air. This is all for protection and ball security. And when turning towards the middle, we go ahead and fake baseline, and when we step to the middle, my toes will face the sideline. Of course, Kobe does the same thing. We don't want to point our toes to the rim. We don't want to square up when shooting a fade or certain shots because we want to square up in the air and have that ball protected on the side of our body. You heard before when dribbling to have the defender, your body, and the ball, and the same goes for certain turnaround shots and pull-up shots that require you to square in the air. Throughout the next few clips, you'll see this common trend of him being able to keep the ball and then his body and then the defender. And if you can continue to have that pattern, he'll be able to protect the ball, square up in the air, and then finish through over the top. Growing up in the 90s and early 2000s, I idolized Kobe, and every opportunity I got to watch him play, I would. And then afterwards, I would go in my backyard and reenact every single movement that he did. And, you know, as a 6-foot guard, I have no business being on the block. But watching Kobe and seeing what he did and mastering his moves, and it made me believe that I could do those things too. So there was days that I just spent outdoors shooting hundreds and hundreds of fadeaway jumpers until one day I was comfortable shooting that against somebody. Until one day I could be in a game and that could be a go-to shot for me. And like I said, I have no business being on the block. And then there was times when I would shoot hundreds and hundreds of mid-range pull-up jumpers before, you know, even when people said that the mid-range was dead, I still wanted to have that in my bag, and I wanted to feel like it was a layup being able to pull up in the mid-range. And now it does feel like that because of how often I've done it and how much I worked on it. And seeing Kobe master that shot, I wanted to have the same for me. I wanted to be able to score at will at any moment, any time that I wanted to. And that's why I always talk about being a scorer and not just a shooter, and being able to get to your spots. And this video isn't necessarily about me at all. It's just my way of saying thank you and how grateful I am, and my way of being able to give back at least a little piece of, just a little bit of what Kobe's been able to do for me and what he's been able to give me. Because every single thing that I have, I can almost thank, of course, my parents and my friends and people around me, but so much of the mentality that I've been able to hold on to for the past years and such have been a lot from Kobe and what I've learned from him. I just put out a post today on Instagram, and I said that, in February 25th, I'll be spending 360 days out of 365 days in a basketball gym, specifically training my athletes and myself and every player that I get a chance to work with. And the only days that I ever missed out of the entire year were days that I was flying. I've had the opportunity to spend, some days 15 hours and some days, only 7 hours or so in a gym, but every day has been just amazing to be able to help so many athletes, and also to put out so many different YouTube videos and Instagram videos and different ways to continue to help people all over the world. And all of this and so much of my mentality of how badly I want to succeed is because of what I grew up on. So to segue back into Kobe Bryant's moves, you definitely want to master your jab step, your pump fake, and your pivots. Those things, and I say this all the time, Kobe was not the best ball handler in the world, and he was a great ball handler, but not the best in the world, but he had an amazing footwork, so he could always get to his spots. And once he got there, he was going to rise over you or pump fake until you no longer wanted to jump, and then rise over you. And if you did jump, you were at his mercy because he was being sent to the free throw line, or he was getting a layup or throwing it off the glass to himself.
Right, so now, once I go for that next jab step, I can catch him off rhythm. I like to elevate straight from this position right here. So I don't even bring my foot back. You keep the defender off balance, where you just elevate straight from this position, which is a tougher shot. The more you do the shot, the more you work at it, the more comfortable you become, and the stronger you become in areas where you need to be strong. I'd really just get out there on the court and just do it over and over and over until you get comfortable with it. That's the Mamba way.
I love the fact that he says that there, because that's something that I tell you guys all the time whenever I put out different instructional videos, that there's no secret formula, there's no magic potion, there's no way to just all of a sudden, get a special drill to become good at something really fast. It takes a lot of hard work. I remember days when I would shoot dribble pull-ups until I could make 10 in a row, and it took hours sometimes, but when I was done, man, did it feel amazing to be able to just shoot this and hit this any single time I wanted to. And as Kobe just said, that's the Mamba way, just go out and just do it over and over and over again until you can master that skill. And, thank you for taking your time and watching this, and I hope that you guys were able to learn something and pick something out of this. And I know I did this video a little bit unorthodox, but I wanted to give back a little bit and show you guys some different things that you can learn from Kobe and from his game. And I'm sure I missed a lot of signature moves here and there, but these are the ones that have been nearest and dearest to me, and ones that I've really worked the most to master myself, is just his dribble pull-up and his pump fake step through, pump fake reverse pivot, his post fadeaways, things that I continue to watch him do over and over again that I wanted to do. And so I'm sharing those tips with you guys to hopefully help you if you aspire to be something similar to what Kobe was. And I'm still at a loss for words and hope for nothing but the best for his family and his people and everybody who's even, who he's touched, which I'm sure has been all of us. And let's continue to carry on his legacy by pursuing excellence in everything that we do. Sure, you guys can go ahead and leave some comments below and talk about your favorite Kobe memories and moments and what he's done to inspire you and things that he's inspired you to do. And it'll be pretty cool to hear all those things. And, I definitely want to respond and get some feedback from you guys and what kind of things you've learned from him and what, pieces of his game you've taken. I just showed you mine, so I'd like to hear your guys as well. And if you ever want, another Kobe breakdown or a breakdown on, any certain moves or things about his game or his jump shot, please, by all means, just reach out. And I love Kobe, so I'm always happy to teach his skills and his game, and any way that I can continue to pass that on to the next generation, I'm always happy to. So I guess I'll catch you guys in the next one, and thank you again for watching.
Man, if you got to get up every single morning and remind yourself how hard you need to work, you probably need to choose a different profession. you know, because that shouldn't be there. I wake up in the morning excited to get to it. You know, if I'm not training, I'm missing it. If I'm not watching a game of basketball, I miss it. You know, there's no place I'd rather be. And if you have that feeling, then you're truly doing what God has put you on this earth to do.